Hi friends, we're going to make this gorgeous vintage Santa Christmas decor piece, so let's get started. So I found this little wood sign at the thrift store, and it had a little clip on it, so I just took that off. Excuse me, I have a cold, pardon me. And so I'm going to use my vintage Santa prints. They're in my Etsy listing, and the link will be below if you're interested. But this would work with any kind of printable you might have on hand. But if you're interested in the vintage Santas I've got in my Etsy shop, the link will be below. So to begin with, I'm just going to paint the entire thing vintage white acrylic paint by Folk Art. And I'm just going to get, I put a couple coats all over the entire thing except the front where the print's going to go. I just put one layer because it will be completely covered up anyway. So I've got it completely painted, as you can see. And I use my heat tool to dry that out. Now I'm going to cut out my print. And so these in my Etsy listing are 8 by 10, but I just resized it for the size that I needed for this little sign. This sign is about 6 inches by 7 1/4, I believe. So I'm just going to sand it and make it smooth, and I'm going to rough up the edges slightly and just a little bit on the stand and that. Bring back some of that natural wood color underneath the paint, and we'll be covering that up at the very end too. But just getting it roughed up a little bit. Just making it look old and worn and weathered. Just using my little mini sander I got on Amazon. Just wiping off any dust that might be on it. So now I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to do the top half first and kind of set that on there and get it adhered well at the top. Just found it was, especially in this odd shaped thing with the stand at the bottom, it's going to be interesting. So I'm starting at the top and just lining up the top and then just pressing it out and pressing any air bubbles out. And now, as you can see, I'm going to do the bottom. Just making sure I've got complete coverage. Just pressing it out, and I debated how I was going to do that little piece, but I just used my little box knife and just cut around it. That seemed to work just fine. And I knew better than to cut it this soon. I shouldn't have started cutting it until after the Mod Podge was dry. I knew better. But anyway, I was able to kind of put that piece back and then put some more Mod Podge over it and camouflage it. And that's right where the bow and everything is going to go anyway, so it worked out. But shame on me for trying to cheat and do it before the Mod Podge was dry. So now I'm just using my heating tool and just drying it completely. While and during it, I'm just kind of pressing out any bubbles. Had a glob of Mod Podge there at the bottom. I'm just kind of wiping off. So again, I'm just making sure it's completely dry. And it's looking cute already. So now I'm going to sand off, because it was a tiny bit wider than my stand. So I'm just sanding off the excess paper all around the edges and then just scruffing it up as well. Now I'm going to use my Kiehl's dark sealing wax, and I'm going around all the frame, all around it, focusing on the edges of the frame and the corners, really distressing it and making it a little more vintagey. And then going all the way around that the stand part, especially where I put all those scrape marks on it. So I'm just getting a good share of it, and then I will use a wet baby wipe and kind of wipe off excess and just kind of blend it in spots where it needed it. And off camera, I did put more Mod Podge on top of the print to just really seal it on there. Now I'm using my mini Bodabra, and I put a little piece of twine down that center thing first. And then I'm using some Christmas plaid wired ribbon. And this is just the mini Bodabra, and it works fine for most of my projects. And then I'm just putting some organza red ribbon in there. Then some green gingham. Just kind of getting some ribbons that I thought matched and coordinated with each other. Then I decided before I finished to put some Excelsior on the top. I love Excelsior. It just really adds some texture to our projects. Makes it look really fun. And now I'm just putting some twine back and forth on the top there. Now I will pull that twine up through that center slot and pull it up and tie it. Then I turn it around and tie it in a good tight knot in the back. And I'll just cut off those excess pieces. So now you just need to fiddle and fluff and bend the wired ribbons where you need them, and that's what I'm doing here. Just trying to see where I want to set it. When I get it just right, I will hot glue it on there, on the bottom there, just above the top of that stand. And I'll show you here just in a moment. Putting a good dab of glue, and I need to hold it there for a minute there. Had to pull off some of those glue strings. They get all over the place. Sorry that you're seeing the back of it only right now. It was just easier for me to look straight on at it at this point in the project. So now I'm just kind of trimming up all the tails, the widest wired ribbon. I'm putting a dovetail on the ends. And I think it's looking so pretty already. Now these tags I made a few days ago using some rub-on transfers that I got on Amazon, and I will link those below too. But what I did is I used some craft cardstock, and I put a layer of Mod Podge on top of that and let it fully dry. And then I used the rub-on transfers, because otherwise if I didn't use the Mod Podge, it would peel off all the paper. In fact, I speak from experience. That's what happened when I first gave this a try. So anyway, I'm using the one that says This Home Believes, and I punched a hole in it, and I really scruffed up the edges. And I used that dauber with the same Kiehl's sealing wax on it, and went all around the edges and just kind of distressed it all around the edges. Now I'm putting some twine in it, and I'll cut that off. I'm going to put that in the center of the bow. I couldn't find my finger protector, so I just grabbed my scissors nearby and held that down while the glue set. Now I'm going to put a rusty jingle bell right in the center there. That just definitely just kind of finishes it all off. And I could have been done here, but I thought it needed a little bit more Excelsior, so I put grabbed another chunk and bent it in half and just glued some on both sides of the bow underneath it. And once that dries, then I can spread it out where I want it and then trim up the ends. And it turned out so pretty. I'm really happy with it. I hope you're happy with it as well. I hope this inspires you to go thrift store shopping and find something fun that you can do. And be sure and check out all the links below. The vintage Santas are gorgeous and very versatile. And thank you for watching. You have a whimsical day. Thanks.